password on this computer. Okay. Thank you for joining us tonight. We are here to talk about customer care, all things customer care and following up. Hopefully, you have something to take some notes, but if not, I'm also going to show you where some of these resources are so that you can find them on your own later. Let me, there's a way to, there you go, just put myself up there for right now. Um, So I think a lot of times we hustle so hard to get new ambassadors, to get customers, to get people on our teams. We do a lot of work then and we sign them up and we're like, yes, I got somebody, or I met my goal, I hit my rank, I got my bonus, whatever it is that maybe we were going for. And then we feel like our job is done. Like it's kind of a relief when we get there, right? I mean, I totally understand. I get that. I have the same feelings. But actually, our job is just beginning when we sign somebody up. One of the most important things that we can do is customer care after we add somebody. And so I think that this is such an important topic, and there have been times in the past when I have not done this well, and it shows. You're also going to hear us talk about retention, and retention means that you hang on to the people that you add, and customer care is a huge part of that. When we sign somebody up, it is our job that's just beginning to make sure that they have the most success with the products. If you think about places that have excellent customer care, what places or experiences come to mind for you guys? If anything comes to mind, go ahead and type it in the chat. Are there any certain places that you think of that yes, they have really good customer care? Chick-fil-A. I knew that would be on the list. Absolutely. Chick-fil-A was the first one on my list too. Because they're so friendly, right? They're always making sure it's like their pleasure to serve you. You don't ever feel like a burden to them. They are on it. They're taking your order like before you get to the window, like they want to serve you. You feel heard, you feel seen. Um, they're doing their job. Chick-fil-A can run the universe. Exactly. Another place on my list is Disney World. I experienced this last year when we went for the first time, and Disney World has amazing customer care. If you've ever been there, everybody's so friendly. They're so willing to help. And honestly, my goal is that Plexus is on the top of that list. Like, we do not want to be, and I think this is what sets us apart as network marketers too, is like we are not just going for a sale. We want them to be successful on their products. We're not just adding them just so that we can hit a rank or we can get a bonus. Like those things are nice perks. But that's what gives network marketing a bad rap is if we add them and then we just go silent and we don't do anything with them after that. And so this is a really important step and something that we really need to focus on. A lot of this honestly starts even before you sign somebody up, and it starts with setting appropriate and realistic expectations about the products, about what they can expect, about detox, about how long it could take for them to experience results. I think a big part of customer care is not promising an overnight fix. We're not promising a magic pill that's going to change them overnight. And that makes the customer care part of things easier. It makes there's less anxiety with it because if you promise somebody a quick fix and then you go to follow up with them after they've been on their products for a week or 2 weeks, like you might have some anxiety like are they experiencing changes or are they not? Are they feeling good or are they not? So I think that that's a really important part of it. Also letting them know like right from the get-go that you are going to be checking in with them a lot, especially in the first month, because that's a really important time. You're setting realistic expectations about this. You are going to, sorry, I just lost my train of thought. You're going to be checking in with them often. You might have to troubleshoot their products. You might have to troubleshoot their schedule, like letting them know all of this up front so that they don't think, okay, I have to take these products one way. And if that doesn't work for me, well, Plexus didn't work for me. We hear that a lot. Well, Plexus just didn't work for me. Well, we have to let them know ahead of time. You might experience detox. You might not feel good on these three products, and we'll switch up your products. There's lots of different things that we can try, and there's no cookie cutter recipe. So there are a lot of different times that we should be following up with somebody. And I'm going to show you kind of one system that you could use that is in Start with Silver, but this starts before they even get their products. So after you sign somebody up, before they even get their products, you are going to send them a message and it's going to say something like, hey, Allison, your product should be here any day. On day one, you're going to mix it up, and I want you to take a selfie with it because you will want to remember this day as the day you started something life changing. And if you're up for it, share it on your social media with this. It could be a great way to get some friends to help you with accountability during this too. And then you send them a little sample blurb that they can post with their pink drink selfie right away, right when they get started on their very first day, saying something like, today I did something for me. Something I probably needed to do a while ago, but it's never too late to start working on yourself. I followed my friend Brooke's journey for a very long time and finally felt the push to ask what she was doing. Um, blah, blah, blah. Then you're going to also send a graphic though on how to take their products. The graphics that I like to use are in an album and start with silver. How to take your products. I know there's probably some different ones floating around out there. Honestly, there's lots of different ways to start. I like the graphics that have it all laid out on there about detox. It has like how and when to take your products on the first week, week 2, week 3, week 4. Troubleshooting, making sure that they're drinking enough water. But whether you send them that graphic or you send them a little blurb that you have typed up, it's really important to send that to them before they start their products. Um, there is also, sorry, I just got out of my notes here. I'm going to go through some other things in a minute here, but I also like to follow up in the first 30 days 4 or 5 times at least. And Lindsay's going to share a little bit later about like her system, how she follows up. She has a really good system. I'm excited to see what she's going to share. So just know that following up, like we're going to give you lots of different ideas about how to do that and maybe what your system could look like, but you're going to have to find something that works best for you. You're going to have to figure out how you function best and how this is going to work best for you. But you need to be following up weekly, at least within the first month. On day one, I usually like to send them a message and just say, hey, how did you like the taste? Okay, we just want to like simply ask them what they thought of the taste if they've never had it before at all. You could even send a video at that time, like explaining what they're taking, explaining about if they bought the triplex combo, you're going to send a video explaining the triplex combo to them, excuse me. On week 1 or at the end of week 1, you can send them a message and just say, hey, I know it's still too early to notice many differences or benefits, but I wanted to make sure you weren't having any issues or struggling with any detox. And I'm going to send you guys all these scripts. They're already posted in Start with Silver. I'm going to show you where you can find these. And then you're going to go through like what some of the different signs of detox are. Are you getting into a good rhythm? Do you feel like you're taking your products consistently? Are you drinking your water? Are you pooping 2 to 3 times a day? If they're having any issues, you're going to try to follow up with them in 2 or 3 days. Like you don't want to wait another week. So I typically suggest checking in weekly that first month, but if they're having issues, you're going to check in even more often with them. And notice how we're not just saying, hey, how are you doing with your products? Or hey, what changes are you noticing? Because in that first month, if we're asking questions like that, it's really hard for people to answer. And honestly, they don't always notice changes as they're going. And so we have to be a little bit more specific. Also, when we ask after week 1, like, hey, how are things going? They might start to feel pressure like should I be noticing positive changes? So honestly, I don't even set them up for that right away. Like that week 1 check-in, and I talk about, are you noticing any of those detox things? Because that lets them know like this might be normal. This might be something that I should be looking out for, or that could be coming. Then you're going to check in after another week. Hey, I just wanted to see if you've noticed an increase in your sugar cravings. My second or third week, my sugar cravings came back a little bit. Are you noticing any of those detox signs we mentioned before? If not, have you noticed any positive changes? Maybe you're sleeping a little bit better or pooping more regularly. Maybe you're craving water, or you're not crashing after your meals. So just kind of giving them some ideas of some things that might be changing that maybe they haven't even thought about or they haven't even noticed yet. Because they aren't thinking about that. They're just like getting on the scale every day and the scale's not moving. So they think that the products aren't working. After week 3 or in between week 3 and week 4, you're going to check in again. You're going to remind them of their subscription coming up. You're going to let them know, like, I know the first month is hard. You're just getting into a routine, but you're going to start to find your sweet spot with everything and it will get easier. Your subscription is going to run again on the 28th. I just wanted to see how you're doing and see if we needed to make any product adjustments before that runs again. And I always let them know like months 2 and 3 are going to be even better. So, we talked about that in the beginning, but stick with us here. So that is how I follow up within the first month, at least 4 or 5 contacts at least. You can write those on your calendar. And like I said, Lindsay's going to share her system in a little bit. But I did want to share my screen with you guys so that I can show you where to find some of this information and start with silver. So you don't have to feel like you're like writing it all down right now. Share my screen. Here we go. Okay, hopefully you guys can see my screen. Now I need to get to start with silver. Okay, in start with silver, you are going to see a files tab. Hopefully you can see a files tab. There's a few different things I want you to note here, but the first one is checklist for new enrollments. So when you're signing somebody up, this is something that you should be using. There's also there's a cute graphic of this posted in here. I think it's in an album also. But let's just check out this checklist for new enrollments. Okay, let me pull this up. So you're going to enroll over the phone. It explains all of it, you guys. You're going to explain perks points. You're going to ask them to start with a friend. Like, who do you know that could do this with you for accountability? You're going to kind of help guide them through that. So it makes it really easy and really natural to just have them add one person right when they're getting started. You're going to make sure that your Facebook or Instagram friends, if you aren't already, you're going to let them know that you're going to contact them in about 4 days when their products come and that you're really excited for them. If you're on the phone with them when you're signing them up, you're going to ask them to make a first post about how they're doing something new and exciting, how they've been watching you and they can't wait to make some positive changes. If they're up for it, then you're going to assist them in making their first post. And then this is what I love about these files if you haven't checked them out already, okay? When you're all done with the sign-up system, help them with their first post, you're going to refer to the onboarding system to help them with this process. So there's also a file in Start with Silver that has the onboarding system where you can click on it straight from here and it's going to link you right to, hopefully it works, our onboarding system file. And this walks you through the process of helping invite somebody how to share. And this is part of customer care. Because when people are doing this with other people, they're more likely to stay consistent. They're more likely to stay accountable. So there's some verbiage here that you can use, like how to ask them to share. Who could do this with you? Who's one person who joins you with everything that you do? It talks about when you can bring this up. And then at the bottom, it says, if they said yes, here are the things that you should help them do to get started sharing right away. If they said no and they just want to buy their products, these are the things that you need to be doing in order to get them started, okay? If we go back to our onboarding, our checklist for new enrollments, it also, the last thing is to mark the check-ins. Immediately in your planner, you're gonna go in and write their name or whatever your system is that you decide to use for 4 check-ins in the first 30 days. This is, if you click on this, first 30 days following up. This is also a file in Start with Silver, and it tells you exactly like when to check in with them and what you can say. So again, we don't just want to say, how are you doing? How are your products? But this will kind of walk you through what you should say at each check-in point to help them within that first 30 days, making sure that they're getting the most out of their products. And if we can get somebody to stay on their products for 60 to 90 days, if we can get them to add a person, if we can get them to go silver, those are the ways that they're most likely to continue to stay on their products, you guys. I think those are the main things that I wanted to show you. Let me go back to the files just to make sure. There is this Business Building Babes PDF. Also has some of this information in there in a cute graphics that you can save to your phone as well. If it loads here, the one I wanted to show you. Okay. Oh, there it is at the bottom. Sorry, guys. Bear with me. I promise I went through this earlier, but. Okay. If I scroll down to the last one here, this is your new enrollment checklist. So it would be really helpful for you to go in there and save this to your phone. It's also got the posting and the reach out system, but the new enrollment checklist and it will walk you through all those things that I already showed you. It's also a file, but if you prefer pretty, you want to save it to your phone to make sure you're doing this with everybody. The other things to make sure that we are doing when we're onboarding and for customer care is making sure that you plug them into Diamond Tribe. They need to be in Diamond Tribe if they're an ambassador, or inside Plexus if they are a customer. Don't forget to invite everybody to share, because you don't know if they'll be willing to or not. If they say no, fine, then there's no harm in that. But if you don't ask them, you don't know if they will want to. But making sure that we're plugging them into our community, because our community is amazing. You guys are amazing, and I want them to all like feel the love and be a part of that. And you guys are doing a really good job of plugging them in, but just make sure that you don't skip that part. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. I think that that's everything that I wanted to cover. Let me just double check my notes. Basically, we want people to know that we care. We want to help them succeed. And the way that we do this is by continuing to follow up with them. So I am going to pass it over to Lindsay now, and I'm going to let her share about her follow-up system. She has really good retention. She has a system. She is a busy mama. And so I want her to share with you guys how she goes about keeping track of all of this. So let me see if I can get her there. Okay, Lindsay, can you unmute yourself there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if it was an issue with my speaker earlier or what. So if you guys can't hear me, let me know.
I think you're good.
Okay. So I guess I think most everybody on here knows me, but there might be a couple people who don't. But my name is Lindsay Guthrie. I am a Senior Gold Ambassador with Plexus. I've only been doing this for 6 months, so I'm kind of a newbie, but it's kind of taken off pretty quickly for me. And I'm actually working for Ruby this month, so I'm super excited. But I was asked to get on and share with you guys kind of my follow-up system. And I just kind of wanted to share what my binder looks like. Like I live off of this binder. And so I guess I will start with that. And I had notes taken and everything. I think some of the things I wrote down was kind of like some things Brooke already touched on. But so I just kind of have like a notebook to start. Obviously, I do like I keep track of like all the team trainings and all that in here. And then these sticky notes, I love my sticky notes. I kind of just use these for like hot potentials, so that like when I open up my binder, I have my sticky notes and like who I want to follow up with this month, or who like I have initiated conversations with. So it's like right there in front of my face when I open that up. Or like checklists, like of things I need to do, whether I need to send out samples, something along those lines. And then I also found this in the back office, which I really like this. This is a scripts workbook. And I just think it's really good for newbies. Like I said, I'm pretty new. So sometimes like I struggle a little bit with exactly having the right words to say or the right words to follow up. But there's all kinds of things in this script workbook, and it gives you ideas on just like how to cold message someone to say like general health and happiness. I mean, there's different categories on here: weight loss, income, what else is on here? And then of course there's follow-ups that are like all about customer care and kind of how to follow up. There's stuff about Plexus perk points, which I think that's a really good idea to follow up with someone like after their first month, after you have checked in with them weekly, and then they're getting further along with their products and they're loving them, and you kind of don't want to be like annoying and you know, keep asking. I don't know, I kind of struggle with that personally a little bit, but I think that talking about the perk points program is a great way to reach out and follow up with them and just to let them know, you know, about that program. Like here's an example. It just says, hey girl, you have a free product in your virtual office waiting. When you're consistent, you earn perks, which equals free products. Can I help you retrieve it? Simple as that. Great way to follow up. And then What else here? Yeah, I think that's it, but I think this is great. I love it. I refer to it a lot. And then I get into these awesome profiles that I think Alma created. These are the bomb. They are in Start with Silver group. I use these faithfully. So whenever I get a new ambassador, I go ahead and I write their name down. I write their ID number down. I write their personal website down. I literally follow this to a T. And then I just schedule out the dates that I have to follow up with them. And like you follow up day one, like Brooke said, hey, how did you like the taste? That kind of thing. And then day 3, 1 weekend, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then 4 weeks. So I love those. And I have also found that it's easier to, instead of like following up with everybody all in one day, if I do like 3 one day and 3, like, spread it out over the week, it is a lot easier. It's a lot less overwhelming if I just do the tasks, because if I wait and I procrastinate and then it piles up, it becomes very overwhelming. So I try to stay on top of the follow-ups. So then I have like an ambassador section. I have it labeled here. And then I have a customer section. So I've got all my customers. And then I've got a potential section. And the potentials, I can write down in here like previous conversations instead of like going back to my Facebook messages and scrolling through to see, what we previously talked about. If I write it down, if I stay on top of these things that Alma created, then it's very easy to follow up. So that's like the gist of my binder. But let me see what else I have on my notes. So like day one, whenever you sign someone up, kind of like Brooke said, I know a lot of you might already know this information, but for those who are newbies and hopefully will rewatch this, welcome them to the Diamond Tribe with a personal post, and adding and plugging your people into Inside Plexus. Start with Silver if they are willing to work the business, and letting them know that you're going to add them to these groups for love, support, and if they could just accept the invite whenever they have time. I know Brooke talked about inviting them to share right away, which is something I'm trying to focus on a little bit more. Like I was a little hesitant to do that right away. But you don't have to have like I started sharing the day I signed up. You don't have to have your own testimony. You can share other people's testimony before you kind of have your own story and your own testimony. And then the day after signing up, which I remember Lauren posting about this when we did like a retention week, she posted something about like save the subs retention. So I have that saved in my notes section on my phone, and then I just copy and paste. And it just basically talks about the basic info with the website, auto sub with their next shipment date, so that if they ever come back to you and they say, oh, well, I didn't know that, it was going to charge me, or I didn't know that this was an auto shipment, we did talk about it. And then you do have that reference for them, because I did have that happen one time. And I just said, oh, like, I'm sorry, you must have missed when I sent it on this date that your next subscription was going to run. But I do always try to, when I'm following up weekly too, let them know, hey, like your subscription is coming up. Is there anything that we need to change? And it also talks about perk points and their personal website as well. What else? And then just like Brooke said, I definitely reach out to them their first month very regularly. 5 to 7 times, I honestly would say that I probably do, because like 3 times that first week. Also sending personal welcome messages to not only my level 1 ambassadors, but I'm also trying to reach out to those level 2s and 3s just to like let them know who I am and welcome them to the Plexus community, and that I'm so excited for them to get started on their journey, and just to let them know that I'm available. This is my son. Just to let them know that I'm available in case, you know, their sponsor is not available. Just kind of really helps them feel welcomed. I would like to start sending welcome cards, like personalized welcome cards, because everybody likes something personalized in the mail. So that is something I want to work on. Then also, if you are following up with people and you just can't get them to respond, because this has happened to me, but yet they keep ordering their products, so that I get kind of stuck on what to do or how to reach out to them. But Lindsay Joseph, she just kind of told me just love on their Facebook posts. That's kind of, I don't know, that I feel like that's all we can do when they're not responding. I just want them to know that like I'm thinking about them and that I care about them. So that is the way that I do that if they're not responding to my messages. Looking over my notes here. Obviously we know with retention, like that's just a part of the business. We are going to have people fall out. But if you can look back on that situation and know that you made every effort, you did every follow-up that you could, then that's kind of on them. You won't feel so bad about it if they do stop. But if you ask yourself, like, could I have done more? Then you can learn from that and build upon that for moving forward. Let's see, I think that's about it, but I did come across like a couple quotes about customer care that I read that I thought really struck me. So I'm going to read those to you guys. The first one is, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So we have to show them our love. We have to show them our support. We want them to feel supported in this journey. They don't care how much information you know, and you don't have to know everything like from the get-go. You don't. I try to always let them lead the conversation and not take over the conversation and to just word vomit all over them. I just really try to focus on that and letting them know that I'm here. What can I do for you? I feel like it's very important. And then one other quote that I found, it says, consistency doesn't mean you never have a problem. It means your customers can count on you if there ever is a problem. So obviously that's what we're here for. We are here to troubleshoot, to figure out what products, what regimen will work best for them. And like Brooke said, I really liked how she said about like, you know, early on, like following up with them, like, hey, what detox symptoms are you noting? Like, I think that's a really good, realistic way to follow up. So I'm going to incorporate that a little bit more with my follow-ups. But I think that's all I have.
Thank you, Lindsay. I am so happy to hear that you are using those graphics Alma created. After you started talking and before you got to that, I was like, shoot, I forgot to show them that part. So I'm really glad that you did that and that it's working for you. Like I had the best of intentions with those and I haven't utilized them consistently, but it just goes to show that if you do, like you can create a really simple system for yourself.
Yeah, I think they're a game changer.
Yeah. I also like how you said that you're touching base with them like even 5 to 7 times within that first month. And I think that helps kind of create that foundation where they feel comfortable coming to you then too if they have problems, because they know that like you want to know because you've checked in on them so much. So even if at some point you forget to follow up with them like 1 month down the road or whatever, like you've established a really good relationship, or if problems come up, they feel more comfortable talking to you about that. How often would you say are you following up after that first month? Do you have kind of a guide or something that you follow for that? Oh, you're muted.
Okay. I would say I don't really have a guide for it. I guess I would just say probably like at least 2 to 3 times. And I think all the challenges that we have every month is also a good opportunity, to follow up with them instead of, I don't know, I personally struggle sometimes with following up and knowing like once they're telling me like they're doing all the things and they love it, like to follow up again and again and again, sometimes I don't know what to say. But
Yeah.
I think that the challenge groups are a great way to do that. And the
Yes.
perk points too.
Yes. I like that. And I agree with you. I think it's kind of different for each person. Like obviously if they're still having problems, you're gonna check in with them
Right.
more in month two. But
Right.
as they're feeling better, it might be less than that. And then just inviting them to other things that we have going on. I think that's
Yep.
good. Just keeping that communication open and like staying in touch with them some way or another.
Yeah. And I
Um,
feel like after,
Go ahead.
am I still muted? Oh, I said I feel like after that, then like monthly
Yeah,
for
I
those who
like
are like
that.
consistently ordering.
Yeah. Are you just leaving their papers in your notebook after that first month and then just following up with them?
I do. Yeah,
Okay,
I do. Yep. But
that's a
then
good
I've also
idea.
found even, working more from the back office is a good way too, to quickly
Yeah,
look at it if I don't have my binder with me.
yeah, I love that.
Yep.
Um, I think the other thing I just wanted to reiterate, um, I don't know if I mentioned this or not, but like when we are following up with people and just making sure that when they're going through detox, like you said too, you don't need to know it all. Like we don't have to know everything about detox, but making sure that we're sending them resources if they are going through detox, like sending them a video or an article about detox, tagging them in different things about detox. I think that's a really important part because we know so many people go through that step when we might feel a little bit lost, but we want to use some of that third party validation with them also and letting them know that like, hey, this is real, this is normal. Here are some other people's stories about detox, or this is like what you might expect. But I think it's really important to use third party validation with that also. Do you have any tips for helping people through detox? As a nurse, I don't know if you have anything like specific that you do or you like to talk about. You're muted.
That's-
There you
I got to
go.
get used to this. Not really. I mean, basically like the water intake, I think is huge. I've noticed like I've been focusing on my water intake and I feel like so much better. It's
Yes.
insane. So obviously that's a big important part. But other than that, I just kind of refer them to the detox posts that are available in Diamond Tribe, and then also too like starting up three-way messages with your sponsor, like you
Yes.
said, like the three-way or the three third party validation
Hmm.
is a great way to kind of get some assistance with that.
Yes. Back it up a little bit. Yep.
Yeah.
I love that. And I think then like you can speak to, oh, I've not drank all my water before and I notice a difference when I do drink my water. So even just speaking from personal experience, like this is something that's
Hmm.
really important.
Hmm.
Wonderful. Does anybody have any questions about following up customer care, the follow-up system? Um, any other tips or ideas that anybody has, anything that's really working for them? Well, Lindsay, I really appreciate you sharing with us. It was a really short notice that I asked Lindsay to share. So I appreciate you just being so willing to jump on and share with us your system. And it just goes to show that like it does pay off to put a system in place and to stick with it, and to keep up with that. And it probably makes your life a lot easier, doesn't
Yeah, I need it. I got a lot going on.
it? Exactly.
Full-time nurse, homeschool,
Yes, like
work
you
in the
have to
business.
have that. So
Yeah.
I think that that is a really great example for all of us, and I want to be more like you. So,
Thank you. I want to be more like you.
oh, thank you. All right, you guys, thanks for getting on with us tonight. This was recorded so we can share it with your teams later. I know a lot of people, I think, were missing out on it. So you'll be able to share it with your newbies, especially important for people who are just getting started to do this right from the start, right from the get-go, and it will make their lives a lot easier if they just implement it from the beginning. So